back to the All Sports Network YouTube channel for I Am Jack Trulio. I was once again joined by Eddie Vicente. Before we get into what happened with the Atlanta Hawks head coach in that whole debacle and mess, we wanted to give you guys a heads up that we are starting a new series. We cannot confirm a name yet, but we'll be dropping an episode this week. It will have to do with breakdowns of everything that happened in the NBA the previous night. We will be doing it in the mornings. I can say it'll probably be around 3 to 10 minutes each day. And I hope you guys will enjoy this and let us know if there's any other content you want us to do. You can email us at allsportsnetwork@outlook.com, or you can find us on Instagram and Twitter at all_sports_net. After 2.5 years, basically, they move on from Lloyd Pierce. His first year, they went 29-53. Last year, they regressed and went 20-47, 14-20. I think the thoughts were, can't fully remember, but I think a lot of people respected him in the league and thought, he could do the job. But like we said, we're talking about this before recording, but it really just seemed like he was the scapegoat from management. Seemed the owners put a lot of pressure on everyone to win this year, and the GM went out and made a whole bunch of moves that didn't make a whole lot of sense. And a lot of them have been hurt, but I think Lloyd Pierce was the scapegoat. Maybe he is the problem. Maybe Nate McMillan will be the solution. But what were your thoughts after hearing or seeing this?
I feel like he hasn't really been given the best rosters to compete with, in my opinion. So I feel like whether he is a good coach or not with this Hawks team has yet to be proven, or was never proven, in my opinion. I mean, because last year they had Taurean Prince starting at power forward, and so in a rookie Trae Young, before that they had Dennis Schroeder. And so I feel like, they should have. I don't think they should have fired him though, but I feel like not everyone really pays attention to the injuries and inconsistent play sometimes of players, so I feel like there's kind of an easy way to be like, oh, it was the coach's fault, because I mean it's not his fault that Gallinari hasn't been all that, that Bogdanovich hasn't played, John Collins wants more money. It's like. I just feel like they should, I just feel like they should have handled this a lot better, than they did. And we talked about this earlier. The firing your head coach, especially if the players liked him. I don't know if they did or not, but let's say they did. That doesn't really create the best culture for your team.
No, and it doesn't seem like the greatest culture already. Obviously, I think all of us love Trae Young, and he's a special player, but he definitely has his holes, and I don't think it helps when he's just allowed to do whatever he wants. Maybe that's on the coach, maybe that's not, but I don't think there's a whole lot more Lloyd Pierce could do. You hit it perfectly. We don't really know if he's a good coach. He wasn't given a lot to deal with, and it was just oh, Trae Young's really good. That's good, He's a young coach, maybe that could work, but it was just kind of like Trae Young's just going to go huck up a whole bunch of shots, and then this year, get a whole bunch of players. Like you said, Gallinari's been hurt, or when he plays, he hasn't been great. Bogdanovich hurt, and when he played, he wasn't that great. And Rondo's been hurt, and that was just a weird deal in general. I get it, someone from a great player for Trey to learn from, and it seems like he has. I think Jackie McMullen of the ESPN.com did a great article about how Rondo's really helped Trae Young, and I'm sure he has, but I think it didn't make sense for either side besides the money, and I just think the GMs and management kind of left the coach out there to hang.
Yeah, because I mean, sure, not everyone wants Trae Young chucking up a whole bunch of shots, but who else is gonna chuck up those shots with him?
Right.
And the thing is too that I mean he wasn't really inefficient either, Trae Young, which I feel like if you give him the coach a good roster, he probably makes it work in a great way, considering what Trae Young did, and so we just I don't know we just just don't know, you know. But you know, definitely firing the coach though was probably the easiest thing to do right now. Um, Unless they get a guy like, gosh, who's the head coach of the Nets? Um, a year ago,
Oh, Kenny Atkinson.
Kenny Atkinson. I feel like unless you're doing this to get Kenny Atkinson, which in my opinion is a great coach, um, for especially for developing players, in my opinion, you know, because I mean,
Right, in building a culture. Yep.
exactly. I feel like unless you do it to get someone like him, I mean, you know, go ahead because I mean, Kenny Atkinson has proven he's a great coach. Um, so unless that's what's going on, I'm not too confident really they'll recover from this move.
Right, and it was kind of interesting after DeAndre Hunter, who had a great year, got hurt. They were the 5 or 6 seed, and then after he got hurt, everything just fell apart. So that's almost like should be a pass for the coach, you would think, but
Yeah, I
you know
even
there are all the
mentioned him in the
reports.
injuries. You know, I mean, so many injuries,
Yeah,
inconsistent placement. It's just I don't know. I feel bad for the coach.
I do too, and hopefully he gets another shot at it. Um, but yeah, like I kind of hinted at earlier, there were all the reports that the GM and all the executives were under a lot of pressure from the owners, and I think this happens a lot, and you hate to see it in sports. The GM, and you know, goes to the owner, and is probably more buddy buddy than the coach, because the
Hmm.
coach is more day to day. You know, he's there, every day, in charge of what's going on with the
Sure.
play, and I think the GM gets the benefit of the doubt, even though I don't think the GM dealt the coach a good hand. I think that's kind of all I got for the Hawks right now, based on
Yeah.
what happened with the coaching thing.
No, I agree with everything you said, by the way. Yeah, for sure.
And it is weird, I'm sure the Hawks will come out fired up and play for Nate McMillan. They'll probably win 5 games in a row or something like that. And it always seems to happen. And then they'll fall back down. So I don't think everyone will be like, oh, Nate McMillan, he's the answer. But I don't think so.
Yeah, no, I agree.